Picture this. You are starving. There is a raw chicken breast sitting on the counter right in front of you. Pale, cold, slightly damp, staring back at you. And you would rather eat almost anything else on earth than pick that up and take a bite. Instead, you do something completely bizarre. You set it on fire. Not all the way on fire, just enough. You hold that piece of dead animal over a controlled flame on purpose until it changes color, and then you eat the results and call it dinner. Now look at literally any other animal. A wolf tears into a raw deer and does not think twice. A hawk swallows a raw mouse whole. A chimpanzee, your closest living relative, will happily crunch through raw meat, raw bugs, and raw leaves all day long. You are the only animal on this entire planet that cooks its food. Not the smartest way to eat, the only one that does it at all. And here is the part that should genuinely disturb you. It is not just that you can cook. You have to. You are the one animal that has become physically dependent on setting its dinner on fire before eating it. So how did this happen? How did one species of ape decide that raw food was beneath it and rebuild its entire body around a campfire? Let's start with the obvious question. What is so bad about raw food anyway? Other animals seem completely fine. Here is the brutal truth about raw food. It is a terrible deal. Your body has to spend an enormous amount of energy just to unlock the energy inside it. Think about it as a bank. Raw food is a locked vault stuffed with calories, but the lock is expensive to pick. You burn energy chewing it, grinding it, and slowly digesting it, and you only get a fraction of what is inside back out. Watch a gorilla sometime. A gorilla spends up to 6 hours a day just chewing. 6 hours. That is not eating for pleasure. That is a full-time job with no lunch break because lunch is the job. Your ape cousins have huge jaws, huge teeth, and a gut like a giant fermentation tank, all built for one purpose: grinding through mountains of raw plants to scrape out barely enough to survive. And 2 million years ago, in Africa, your ancestors were stuck in exactly that trap. Big guts, big teeth, small brains, chewing all day, always one bad week away from starving. Then, something changed everything. Fire met food. We do not know the exact moment. Maybe a wildfire swept through and someone tasted a roasted root or a scorched animal and realized it was softer, sweeter, and easier to eat. But once our ancestors got control of fire, they aimed it at their dinner. And that changed what a human even is. Because cooking does something almost magical. It is pre-digestion done outside the body. When you heat food, the heat does a huge chunk of the work your stomach used to do. It bursts open tough plant cells, it unravels the tangled proteins in meat, it turns hard starches soft and sweet. Take a raw potato. Try to eat one. It is hard, bitter, and mostly useless to your body. Now roast that same potato, and it becomes soft, sweet, and packed with energy your body can actually grab. Same potato. The fire did the work. Cooking basically hands your body a meal that is already half digested. So you get far more calories out of the same food, for far less effort. The vault is already unlocked, and that one trick set off a chain reaction that reshaped the entire human body, from the teeth down to the brain. Start with the mouth. Once fire was softening the food, we did not need those giant grinding teeth and that massive gorilla jaw anymore. So they shrank. Our teeth got smaller. Our jaw muscles got weaker. Your dainty little modern teeth are basically a side effect of cooking. Then the gut. This is the big one. That huge, expensive, energy-hungry fermentation gut. Cooked food does not need it, so it shrank too. The human gut is dramatically smaller than a great ape's because fire took over most of the heavy digesting. And here's where it gets beautiful. Your body runs on a strict energy budget, and two organs are wildly expensive to run: your gut and your brain. Scientists call this the expensive tissue idea. If you can shrink one expensive organ, you suddenly have spare energy to spend on the other. Cooking shrank the gut, and all that freed up energy flowed straight into growing a bigger, hungrier, more powerful brain. Your brain is a monster. It is about 2% of your body weight, and it burns around 20% of your energy just sitting there doing nothing. A brain like that is impossibly expensive to feed on raw leaves, but feed it a steady stream of soft-cooked, calorie-rich food, and suddenly, you can afford it. This is the wild claim at the heart of the whole story. Cooking did not just feed the human brain. Cooking may be the reason we could grow one this big in the first place. The fire cooked our food, and our food built our mind. Now, this is a big claim, so how do we actually know any of it? We were not there. The first clues are in the bones. Right around the time we think cooking took off, roughly 2 million years ago, a new human shows up in the fossil record. Smaller teeth, smaller jaws, a smaller rib cage over a smaller gut, and a noticeably bigger brain, the body of an animal that had stopped chewing raw food all day. Then there is the fire itself. In a cave in South Africa, scientists found burnt bone and ash from controlled fires reaching back around 1 million years. At a site in Israel, there are the scattered remains of ancient hearths from nearly 800,000 years ago, with cracked, cooked nuts still lying around them. The evidence for the very earliest cooking is still argued over because ash and campfires do not fossilize neatly. But the trend is impossible to miss. Fire, hearths, cooked food, and a shrinking gut with a growing brain, all showing up together. Which brings us to the strangest question of all. If cooking is such an incredible cheat code, why is no other animal doing it? Chimps are smart, crows are smart, plenty of animals are clever. So why has not a single other species figured out the campfire? And the answer is that cooking is unbelievably hard to invent because it demands a whole stack of things almost no animal has at once. You have to control fire, which is terrifying and dangerous. You have to keep it alive, feed it, and carry it. You have to fight every instinct screaming at you to run away from the flames. And hardest of all, you need patience. You have to take good food, put it into the fire, and then just wait, resisting the urge to eat, trusting that in a few minutes it will be even better. That is a lot to ask of a hungry animal. Here's the fascinating part. Chimps might have just enough brain power for the last step. In experiments, chimps were given a raw slice of food and a little device that magically turned it into cooked food. And many of them learned to wait, and even to carry their raw food across the room to cook it. They get the concept. What they cannot do is make and control the fire. And with no fire, there is no kitchen. You will also hear about animals that use fire, and it is worth being clear here. In Australia, certain hawks are known to snatch burning sticks and drop them to spread wildfires and flush out prey. It is genuinely amazing. But they are using fire to hunt. They are not cooking. Not a single animal out there takes its food, cooks it, and then eats it, except you. And once our ancestors started down this road, there was no turning back. This is the twist. We did not just gain the ability to cook, we lost the ability to live without it. Modern humans are what scientists call obligate cookers. Our teeth are too small, our jaws too weak, our guts too short, and our brains too hungry to survive on raw food the way our ancestors once did. We are trapped in the kitchen we built. And this is not just a theory. There are studies of people who eat nothing but raw food, using modern blenders and every trick available. And even then, many of them lose dangerous amounts of weight. And a large share of the women stop having regular periods because their bodies simply cannot pull enough energy out of raw food. Take away the fire, and the human body starts to fail. There is one more thing the fire gave us, and it might be the most human thing of all. The fire pulled us together. A campfire is a place. Cooking takes time, so people gathered and waited around the flames. The hearth became the first kitchen, the first dining table, the first meeting place. We sat in a circle, in the dark, sharing food that no other animal could make. And we talked. Cooking did not just feed the body, it built the family. So let's put the whole story back together. 2 million years ago, we were just another chewing ape, trapped grinding raw food for 6 hours a day. Then we caught fire and turned it on our dinner. Cooking unlocked the calories and our teeth shrank. It took over digestion and our guts shrank. All that freed up energy poured into our skulls and our brains exploded. And once we had that big cook-fed brain, there was no going back. We became the animal that must cook to live, gathered forever around the fire that made us. So no, you are not being a fussy, spoiled animal when you refuse to eat that raw chicken. You are being exactly the animal that 2 million years of fire designed you to be. The next time you stand over a stove, mildly annoyed that you have to cook again before you can eat, remember what you are actually doing. You are performing the one trick that separates you from every other creature alive. You are running the ancient program that took a hungry ape, cooked its dinner, and quietly cooked it into a human.